So over to my next speaker, Ms. Azka Ghaida. She is Air Quality and Climate Analyst with the World Resource Institute, Indonesia. Over to you.
Thank you so much. Hello, everyone. Good evening. My name is Azka Ghaida. I'm a Air Quality and Climate Research Analyst from World Resource Institute, Indonesia. So in today's session, I will share about the crop burning in Indonesia. Next slide, please. Okay, here's the agenda for today. So I want to talk about in 5 parts. Next slide. Yes, next. So this is the current condition in Indonesia. So basically, Indonesia is an agrarian country with 33% of its islands dedicated to agricultural production. With we have 3 major food crops in Indonesia: rice with more than 60%, and the second place is corn, and the third is cassava. In 2015, we got the data from Statistic Indonesia in 2021. The annual crop production is around 121 million tons, with about the 20 to 30% the crop is wasted. But we got an updated data in 2018. Even though they have the same percentage of the total amount of crop residue, but the number of the tons of the crop residue is increased. It's around 45 million tons in 2018. Next slide. Here's the map of Indonesia. So basically, Indonesia has 5 major islands: Sumatra, Kalimantan, Sulawesi, Papua, and Java. As we know that Indonesia has a big issue on forest fire, which happened in Sumatra and Kalimantan. But we found that Java Island is the major contributor for the total crop residue open burning emission. It's around 80% coming from the rice straw open burning. Next. Okay. So here's the graph show that the rice field total area in Indonesia. Here's the top 5. The largest area is in East Java with around 1.2 million hectare. If we added the area in South Sulawesi and South Sumatra, the total area is still lower than the East Java. So, but actually, we expected that the fire activity will be decreased in Java Island due to the increasing of the trend organic farming. Next slide. So this is the annual air pollutant emission from the crop residue open burning in Indonesia. At the first graph, we can see that rice, it's shown by the orange arrow, show the emission from the PM 2.5. It's the highest among the others, with the total PM 2.5 is around 16,000 gigagram per year. Compared to other crops, we can see that the second highest contributor is cassava, and the lowest is sugarcane. Next slide. What actually causes this activity? Next. I think there's a lot of information before that the burning in agriculture is the easiest and cheapest way to clear the land, and it's a lot of farmers still believe that it will help them to eliminate any disease, but also they don't really think about the risk, and it's also help them to clear in a very fast way. Next slide. But they forgot about the impact to the air quality. So basically, this is the illustrated that I want to share about that. In Indonesia, they usually use the emission factor that developed from the street. But there's the current study about the emission factor. Then it shows that the emission is higher if we use the new emission factor. So if this if we use the new emission factor, it could be the contributor from the crop residue is higher than 21% of the total biomass. Other than that, we know that there's also the consequences of the pollutant is not always the local due to the transport of the pollutant to others area. So it could be higher than that. Next slide. So what actually the government has taken action. Next. So there's a lot of the regulation from the government for prevent and to mitigate the open burning. There's two examples that the minister has released for the regulation. The first one is the recommendation. So under the Ministry of the Agriculture, the minister has give a recommendation to use rice straw for composting, and also from the Ministry of Environment and Forestry, the minister released the procedure for checking forest fire and or land hotspot. And also the government released the guideline for the farmers to rice cultivation that published by Ministry of Agriculture. Next slide. Other than that, the government also doing a workshop and training for farmers. It's about the sharing session, about the best agricultural practices, about the crop management, and also for raising awareness of farmer about the risk as cause of the open burning. Next slide. And here's the monitoring system platform that created by Ministry of Environment and Forestry of Republic Indonesia. It's Sipongi Plus. Basically, this platform using a data satellite that will detect the potential of fire activity based on the increasing of the temperature. So this is one of the preventive way from the government. Next slide. Yes, the fourth part is the challenge. Next. So we found that three big challenge about the crop residue open burning in Indonesia. The first one is because the community barrier. Second one, economic and legal barrier. And the third one is about the technology barrier. Next slide. So for the community barrier, it's about the traditional farming. Basically, farmers, they don't have a strict timeline about when they want to burn the crop, where, and it's quite difficult to determine the intensity and activity of crop residue burning. But usually the burning activity is quite high in the dry season. Also in a traditional farming, the amount of crop residue, it's depend on production and post-harvesting process that will increase the possibility of burning the crop residue. And the last one is because the residue to crop production ratio, as estimated from several studies, it's very depend on the crop type, harvesting practice, and the environmental factors. For the economic and legal barrier, there's problem with the trade change. From this figure, I can say that the farmers, they cannot sell their product direct to consumer. So that's why the farmer, they just get a little income from what they have done. So that's why they also have a lack of financial knowledge and management practices for farming. And other than that, they don't know how to actually manage the residue for the side product. So the easiest way to leverage the side product of the rice straw is uses for animal feed. But if you want to move like to another option or another alternative like biofuel or composting, it's another cost for the farmer. They cannot afford it. And the next one is okay. Sometimes the agricultural area, they use a location in conservation area. Maybe it's not for rice farming, but a lot of the vegetable or sometimes the coffee farmer, they use the conservation area. They need the policy reform on fulfill demand and technology transfer. Next. And for the third challenge is about the technology barrier. So basically, the farmer-driven innovation is a crucial driver to improve production pattern and support farmer in achieving sustainability. It's not limited to internet or modern or some advanced technology, but the farmer needs to know how to adapt or to mitigate the effect of climate change to bring about the smarter use of natural resources. Okay, the last part is about what next. Next. So for the last slide, this is my last slide. So basically all this integrated support transform innovation. So we're trying to transform the traditional farming to more sustainable farming. As I mentioned before that the new trend of organic farming started in Java. So, but they need a support from the government, like the government subsidy. The government will give an incentive for the composting or for some machine that will help them avoid burn their crop waste. And education of community involvement, because the government cannot directly work the farmer, so we need support from the community to involve with the farmers. And the last one is the innovation. So as I mentioned before, that the farmer, they don't really need advanced technology. I think the innovation is more like the how to manage or how to utilize the crop residue in the easiest and the cheapest way without harming the environment. Yes, that's my presentation. Thank you so much.